Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Yule, Y-U-L-E. Thank you so much for that. And again, I apologize, a little bit under the weather as I do this, but for those who want to send in any requests, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. It could be for a reaction, topic, ranking list, review, commentary, randomness, whatever it may be. Both links will be down below in the info box under the video. It could be, again, through my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below. Now, this is for a Chuck Norris film called Breaker Breaker from 1977. Now, Breaker Breaker, this is one of Chuck Norris's very early films. One of the first ones he got the star in, actually. Because by this time, he was in the Bruce Lee film Return of the Dragon, also as The Way of the Dragon, where he played the villain, and fought Bruce Lee in the Coliseum. Around this time, he was in that film Slaughter in San Francisco, also known as Yellow-Faced Tiger, I think, which is a strange fucking title, where he played another bad guy. I think his voice was dubbed. One of Chuck Norris's shittiest movies, that I'm sure he feels the same way. And this is the Chuck Norris that has the blonde hair, no facial hair, no beard, no mustache, and probably the first one he starred where he was a good guy. And even those films he wasn't the star, so this is probably his first actual starring role. Because after this, you had Good Guys Wear Black, you had The Octagon, you had, what was it, so on and so forth. Now, I like Chuck Norris. Yeah, he may not be deemed as the best actor ever, but I think he could have a good, quiet presence that just equals badass and cool. He has a cool factor. Whether it be, and there are times where he can be very fun, like in Firewalker, he's smiling, got a sense of humor to it. Or his silent badass works well in films like Silent Rage and Missing in Action 1 and 2 and 3, Invasion USA, Lone Wolf McQuade, among others. And when you look at his series of films, there's not a whole lot that I found to be utterly shit. I mean, I don't like Good Guys Wear Black. Slaughter in San Francisco is crap. Some of his later ones, like Forged Warrior, I'm not a fan of. Some of his Christian movies, Bells of Innocence, not a fan of. But I would say maybe 90% of his movies I do like. Especially his Cannon film years. With the company Cannon, where he's, the Missing Action films, and Firewalker, and like I said, Invasion USA. Oh wow, that's a series of entertaining movies. And Chuck, I will say, knew when to get out of the game. He stopped doing movies, he did the Walker Texas Ranger TV show, and that one ended, he retired. Other than doing a cameo in Dodgeball with Ben Stiller, where he did the thumbs up, or Expendables 2, he didn't really do a lot of other stuff, and that's for the better. Maybe some people should learn from Chuck Norris. Maybe Stallone and Schwarzenegger and these guys need to learn from Chuck. I'd go, you know what? My time went. I'm going to enjoy my retirement. I just wish Chuck Norris would sit down and talk about his movies. Now, I hear different stories. I hear they asked him and he keeps saying no. Then I hear, they never asked him. I have to believe someone asked him for the Blu-rays of Invasion USA and Delta Force, and he just said no. And if that's the case, I don't know why Chuck Norris doesn't want to talk about it. And if he says, well, no one asked me, I don't know why anyone would not ask Chuck Norris for an interview. I don't get it. But anyway, back to this. I know it's like 5 minutes in. I would say this is inspired by Smokey and the Bandit, but that's not true, because Smokey and the Bandit came out the same year. Actually, around the same time, in 1977. So, by the time this was getting made, Smokey and the Bandit had not even come out. But there was a time where trucker movies and the CB radio, they were becoming, I don't know if you want to say a fad, but it was there was a good series of films from Convoy to I mentioned Smoking the Bandit and its sequels to this movie where that was definitely part of the vernacular of cinema. You don't see a lot of that nowadays. You don't see a lot of trucker movies nowadays. But the plot's very simple. Chuck Norris is a truck driver named JD. His brother takes a truck and disappears. He disappeared around this city called Texas City, California, where you have this asshole judge. And what this city does, I say city, it's like a town that you pass in like 20 seconds. And the sets are really cheap. I mean, the sets, it looks like if you sneeze, it will all fall down. Of course, the reason being is at the end of the film, the truckers come in and demolish the whole fucking place. But the sets look really cheap. I've seen high school plays look more expensive than the sets. Like when you see Chuck Norris walking through the town, it look. Remember that scene in Blazing Saddles when they put up the fake town? That's what it looks like. I mean, the facades, the fronts, it looks so. The thing is, this film was shot in 11 days, and it was a big hit. It actually made money, and Chuck Norris was not a fan of the film. But I know his dad said, "This is my favorite film of yours, son." I think Chuck Norris did an interview like in '85 where he said, "Yeah, at that time it was still my dad's favorite film that I did." And I will admit, it is one of Chuck's weaker films. It would not be in a top 10 favorite Chuck Norris movies. I still get some fun out of it. It's interesting to see Chuck in his first starring role, even though he's rough around the edges. It's interesting seeing Chuck with the blonde hair and no mustache. He still gets to do a couple fight scenes. I like the fight scene at the end, even though it makes me laugh. "You son of a bitch!" And Chuck's like, "Okay." Yeah, kicks him right in the chest, probably caved his chest in. There is some unintentional fun to be had by you look at the weird 70s clothes, some of the stuff Chuck Norris wears. Like, I never thought I would see Chuck Norris wear a yellow t-shirt. But yep, there it is. He's wearing a yellow t-shirt. Looks like Tweety Bird. But again, his brother goes missing on a job. Chuck Norris goes to see him. In a brief role, you have Jack Nance as Chuck Norris' buddy. Jack Nance was the star of Eraserhead with the crazy hair. He's talking with Chuck at this diner, and this guy, I guess Chuck, his character JD, is known for arm wrestling. So you have this big, massive guy wanting to arm wrestle him. And then Chuck Norris wins, and the big guy's like, "You were trying to hypnotize me." I'm like, what? And then this fight breaks out, and this director, I will say, I don't remember who the director is. He doesn't have the most knack for action. This is like the first time we see Chuck Norris fight, and he films it all like from here. Now, thankfully, later he pulls the camera back, so we can see Chuck do his kicks in all his glory. But the first scene you see like from his waist up, and you see him kick, and it's like, well, wait a minute, pull it back. Let us see Chuck the whole shebang. The show that the guy can, I don't know, just wasn't the best composition. But the director did get a bit better later on. And so when Chuck, he travels to this town, that again, if you sneeze, the whole thing will come down. You find that the town has a scam. They trick truckers into, "Oh, you were speeding, you gotta pay these fines." Pretty much something you would see in an episode of the A-Team. I know a lot of critics would talk about the plot holes and, well, what is this town really doing and what's their end game. But again, it didn't bother me as much because, like I said, it reminded me if they didn't get Chuck Norris, someone would go out and hire the A-Team and take care of this. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. Chuck Norris is the A-Team. But there's some, like, giggles I got out of it. Like when Chuck Norris before he gets to the town. I guess he's training people and they're meditating, and Chuck Norris talking about total concentration on the third eye. And he's wearing these garish clothes, like it's a black shirt with like, I don't know, a gold trimming on the top, on the collar. And yeah, when he gets into town, at one point he has a yellow shirt. I mean, it's a film that not a whole lot happens. Chuck doesn't get to do a whole lot. It's definitely not the first, second, or third film to watch if you want to see what Chuck Norris can do with martial arts. Because other than that diner bit, there's a bit where he is almost fighting the whole town. That's probably, I think, one of the better bits of the movie. Because he fights two cops, and he goes to town hall, he pisses them off, he fights a few others. Although there's one bit in the town hall, I swear he kicks someone, it doesn't connect. By just the full force of Chuck Norris' foot, even though there's a big gap, it's like a bit where Chuck is almost towards camera, and that foot like goes here, but like the guy's head is here. Oof. Maybe he was too afraid of Chuck Norris' foot, because Chuck Norris' foot would cave his head in. So his head got too scared and went, just go down, buddy. You'll trust me. The brain said, just go down, buddy. Let me tell your body to do this. Believe me, you don't want Chuck's foot in your face. He doesn't push up. He pushes the earth down. Death checks his closet for Chuck Norris. His sneeze is equal to a shotgun blast. This is one bit that I did laugh where you have this one guy with a pitchfork and he's like, I'm gonna stick you. I'm gonna stick you. And so Chuck Norris beats the shit out of him. And then this other guy, he sees it, and he goes, oh shit! And he runs away. Hey, so I did get some fun out of it. It's an hour and 20-some minutes long. There's a bit in a junkyard. He thinks his brother's in one of these things. It's not. This guy's trying to kill him. He kicks him. The guy falls and dies of his wounds because his head hit something. The ending, he gets put in jail. There's some stuff, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work in the film. For some reason, number one, they try to maybe do a little lovey-dovey stuff between him and this waitress that just doesn't work. But they do that because when Chuck's in jail, the waitress goes and calls on a CB radio, hey, this trucker needs help, JD, they don't kill him. And that's where the truckers don't come and just demolish the whole town. But you never meet these truckers, you never even see the faces of these truckers. So maybe if we had established who these truckers were, like at that diner could have been a meaning for truckers. Hey man, how's it going? Like, set it up for later. That would have been nice. Or even with that arm wrestling. If the guy lost and said, you know what, man, you died, I can't believe it, man. And then that guy later on, oh, okay, that's cool. The guy who we saw earlier, yeah, he's mad that Chuck Norris beat him, but hey, the guy's going to die, let me go help out. Also, one of the townsfolk is a special needs guy that is talking in stutter. At one point, he goes to a barn and gets like a toy lion and sees someone tied up in a barn, but then runs away. And he's taught, I don't even know how to describe how he talks. He's taught in special. It's almost as if he's talking, remember Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder? Happy. The movie that got completely demolished that Ben Stiller's character had made. I forget what the hell that movie was within the movie. But that kind of thing. It's like, oh god, why is this in the movie? This is not really the best portrayal of that. And then the ending, you want to just see Chuck Norris beat the shit out of everybody. He beats the shit out of one guy at the end, but it's pretty much just, if you want to see truckers just blast through a town, cool. If not, it's not going to do much for you, especially for a town this flimsy. And also, the judge is like the main bad guy, and you don't really get a comeuppance on the judge. There's a bit he's in bed with his woman, and then you see a truck crash through, and then you never see the judge again. Is the judge dead? Is the judge alive? Is the judge going to be arrested? This is a judge who's a dick, and you want Chuck Norris to punch him, kick him the balls, like Roadhouse. I would say Roadhouse is a better version of this movie. I mean, it doesn't deal with truckers, but it's a guy going to this establishment, cleaning the house. You have this other bad guy who's full of himself. So it's not the same plot, but Roadhouse is kind of a better version of this, where, Patrick Swayze takes care of that bad guy a little bit, and then the townsfolk finish the job, but you get a big comeuppance for that bad guy. Here, you don't really... did he even get a comeuppance? If the truck crashed through, did it kill the lady? Isn't that murder? Did it kill the judge? We don't know what happened to the judge. There's no judge of, oh, what the hell you guys doing here? Or someone like punch him in the face. That's what would have been cool if it was like the big jacked up guy and just like knocked him out. There's nothing of that. So what happened to the judge? I dare anyone to tell me what happened to the judge. If the truck killed the judge, then they must have killed the lady, and what did the lady do? Is it justified homicide? I don't know. That was strange. I mean, that's really your main bad guy. You never actually see a comeuppance. Or at least have a bit where the judge is outside, he sees his town wrecked, and he's crestfallen, or he's crying. Something, man. Instead, the Chuck Norris finds his brother tied up in a barn. Why did they have the brother tied up in a barn? What were they going to do with the brother? I don't know. What were they going to do with the brother? They tied him up. What were they going to do? What were they waiting for? Like, they tied him up. Again, what were they waiting for? If they're going to kill him, why didn't they kill him right away? Like, again, I don't know what their plan was for this brother that they tied up in a barn. They didn't put him in jail, which is strange. Why would they not just put him in jail? It's their town. They didn't beat up Chuck Norris and tie him up in a barn. They put Chuck Norris in the jail, but this guy, again, why did they just tie him up and put him in a barn? What were they going to do with them? If they were going to kill him, why didn't they kill him earlier? I don't fucking know. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of issues when you're like, no comeuppance on the judge, or if they're, maybe, I don't know. Like I said, this is one of the weaker Chuck Norris films. I mean, after this, I would say Octagon was better. I like the Octagon, despite the stupid fucking narration, what the hell they were doing with that. But I like the Octagon. Forced Vengeance, I think is fun. It's pretty much Chuck Norris beating the shit out of people for 80 minutes. There's slow spots in that film, but the second half is a lot of fun. It's not the entire film with Chuck Norris beating the shit out of people, but the second half, that's pretty much what it is. Eye for an Eye is better. And then you get into the 80s, that's when you get the better Chuck Norris. That's when you get the Lone Wolf McQuade, the Invasion USA, the Missing in Action films, the Firewalker, which is my personal favorite. Even Silent Rage in 82. Hero and the Terror, which I like. That's more dramatic, but I do like the Hero and the Terror. I like Hellbound. I like Sidekicks. So again, I don't hate the film. I say it's fun to see an early Chuck with no mustache. Him trying to be a truck driver. A lot of crappy country music. I'm not a big country music guy. I mean, around this time, it would be your better bet to see Smokey and the Bandit with Burt Reynolds. I like the fight scene at the end where it's in this horse corral. Okay, this is like the one time the director wanted to be artistic. Because like Chuck Norris find this cop, this dirty cop, and then it cuts to like a horse, and there's slow motion. As like the director thought he was Sergio Leone, where there's people and up close shots of face and eyes and editing. Okay, now you want to try to be artistic, director. But that's why I do think it's one of the better scenes of the movie. And it's one of the scenes you did see Chuck do his thing. I mean, it's not one of his best fights. I mean, it's not Lone Wolf McQuade with him and David Carradine. It's not any of that, but it's still fun. I laugh when the guy's like, "You son of a bitch," and Chuck Norris turns like, "Fuck you." He doesn't say that, but that'd be, in his head he did. I think he kicked the guy so hard he killed him. I think that's what happened. So yeah, I still got some entertainment out of it, but other than when he fights people in town and the end fight, there's not a lot of action in the movie. There's not a lot of excitement in the movie. Again, the plot leaves you questions. What were they going to do with his brother? Why did they tie him up in a barn? If they're going to kill him. The judge, why didn't he get like a big comeuppance? A truck crashed through his place. Did he die? Did the woman he was with die? Did he evaporate? Did he eviscerate? What happened? I don't fucking know. But it was an nah, I don't say interesting. No, it's not. There's nothing interesting about the film. Well, no, it was interesting to see where Chuck began. And in the words of George Carlin from Bill and Ted, he does get better. Do get better. Chuck Norris films do get better. And like I said, I'd rather watch this than Good Guys Wear Black. I'm not a fan of that movie. And I'd rather watch this than Forest Warrior. I'd rather watch this than Slaughter in San Francisco. I'd rather watch this than his religious bills of innocence. But it's definitely much lower tier on the list for Chuck Norris. And it does have a Blu-ray. Which is weird because I don't think Sidekicks has a Blu-ray, but this has a Blu-ray. Go figure. I mean, like Deadly Outbreak, Jeff Speedman doesn't have a Blu-ray. Street Night doesn't have a Blu-ray, but this has a Blu-ray. Yeah, that's too bad. Anyway. With that said, but it's not awful enough it doesn't deserve it either. It's there. Like if I did like a 5-star rating, it'd probably be like 2.5 at best out of 5. It wouldn't get a 3. It'd probably be like 2.5. I've seen much better. I've seen much worse. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.